Hello and welcome to this ad hoc Steve's Mile to Dragon's Back. This video is dedicated to my loose plan for how I hope the week is going to go. I think it's important. I know I've said that the event is huge and nobody can really predict what's going to happen during these 6 days, but it's good and important, I think, to have an idea in your own mind about how you think it will likely plan out, because you'll work towards making that actually happen. Now, it's a positive plan. It's a plan that says I do get through all the days, but it's a realistic plan of how I think each day 1 to 6 will go. So here we go. Okay, so I'll talk this all through with last year's event map. The course, apart from day 4 and a little bit of day 6, is very, very similar. So the principles are still. Okay, right. This Dragon's Back race, in my loose plan, as I say, this is just a plan in my mind to give it some sort of structure so that I can put something to build around with my mental capacities. I've grouped the whole race into 3 kind of segments. I've got day 1 and day 2 together, and then I've got day 3 and 4 together, and then I've got day 5 and day 6. I'm not really going to get too concerned about at the moment, but I'll explain why I've segmented it into those 3 bits in a minute. Day 1 and 2 are, without shadow of a doubt, the toughest 2 days, and day 1 in particular, I actually think anybody who just gets through day 1 of Dragon's Back is an absolutely awesome mountain runner, because it's not to be taken lightly. The recce brought that home to us. So my strategy is all about not getting cramp when I hit Trevan and Crib Goch. So good news, we're going to be out of Conwy Castle and into the main race 10 minutes quicker than previous years. Now that is a big advantage, because that will give me a little bit more time to get water on board at the water drop and the cut-off. Now this whole first section that we're looking at here, checkpoint 2, checkpoint 3, 4, all of these sort of mountains here, they are largely runnable. You can get a reasonable pace on. Obviously there's some big climbs in there as well, but compared to the rest of day 1, you can move at a reasonable speed. Now this is where I've got a balancing act to play out in day 1. I've got to stop myself getting cramp, as I say, for Trevan and Crib Goch. So that means staying largely in zone 2, really well hydrated and really well nourished. But equally, I cannot get to checkpoint 5 over here later than 12 o'clock midday. So it's a balancing act. I've got to get my skates on, keep the heart rate in the zone, but I must get there before 12 o'clock and clear that checkpoint in 5 minutes, really. Just load up my drop bag, new food for the rest of the route, get my water bladders filled and go. Now, I've budgeted an hour and a quarter to get to the top of Trevan, which even on tired legs should be doable. But then this bit to Glidderfach and Glidderfor, the climb up is quite technical, the ground up there is rocky, but then this descent is not the quickest of descents either to get to this cut-off at Penny Pass before you face Crib Goch. Now my plan is I must be there by 3 o'clock, because Izzy and I have negotiated this whole Snowdon horseshoe to camp in just on 6 hours, but I'm going to need 7 to comfortably go over Crib Goch. Tired legs, so I'm bound to be cramping a bit, and this descent into camp is really quite something. I do plan to potentially be doing that in the dark, so I'm taking a powerful torch, which I've collected from a drop bag. So yeah, it's all about making those cut-offs without being in trouble with regards to cramps. I mean, that's probably my biggest worry for day 1. I just do not want to be taking on those climbs of Crib Goch and the crouching down to get across the ridge with anything even hinting at cramps. I will fully load up on salt tablets. I'm going to well overdose compared to the recommended, but I've done that in ultras many a time and I know my body's requirements. So that's day 1. So day 2, we have recce'd all of this bar this first 2 kilometres on the road. I will be out of camp at 6 o'clock. I just have to. I have to get up. I'll probably get up at 4 on that morning, because it'll be the first morning of getting used to the routine of camp. And yeah, I've got to be out at 6, that's all there is to it. And then it's push this road, I'm hoping probably 11-minute miling, get to the path junction, hit the terrain and go, go, go. Now I'm pretty confident we can tackle all of this terrain and get to the water point, which is here, hopefully by about 11, because on our recce we did quite well, and it is the sort of terrain I can push on. Then we've got some quite runnable bits, but then it does get really quiet. There we are, over here for the rest of day 2. The sort of terrain that I'm not good at, because on our recce this is where we lost a lot of time before we hit the drop bags. And particularly this last section here from checkpoint 5, I lost a lot of time. Izzy was okay, but it's just not my sort of terrain. So we know we can do the Rinox in reasonable pace. It's just a case of keep moving, keep climbing hard. But I will need to be at this checkpoint, I think, around about 2 o'clock. That's my goal. I've got to be there before 2 o'clock to give myself the time I need to get across the Rinox. Now, the good news is for day 2, it plays right into my hands. After about 50k we hit this path junction, and then the last 5 miles is road, trail, pretty much like the Finch Way to camp. So if I am struggling for time here, it's only a guidance at 8:35, not a cut-off, but I will have a good opportunity to absolutely hit zone 3, 4, maybe even 5 if I have to, because I will not let myself get into camp later than 10 if I can actually do the calculations from there to run that last 5 miles. It's just going to be go for it. And as a road runner, there'll be no excuses if I leave anything untold there. It'll be go for broke, just got to get into camp particularly. Now, if I go to bed after day 2, having accomplished both those legs, this is where I will be segmenting the race into part 2, but I will be a lot more relaxed waking up for day 3. I will leave at 6 o'clock, again, absolutely on the nose, because none of these days are to be sniffed at, but I have recce'd most of leg 3 all the way down to McIntyre, and it's more my cup of tea. It's the sort of terrain I can move much quicker on, lots of runnable. On the runnables I could get a reasonable pace going, and it will play much more into my strengths. So again, it's going to be a case of though, get out the door at 6 o'clock, get through town, Dolgethley, and then get up to the top of Cadaradris, where it's a climb. I mean, it's an easier climb, I think, than the path we took when we did the Wales 50, but it's more the grassy direct route, which I prefer. Just get the steepness out of the way and just get it over and done with, really. Then this terrain is, yeah, not perfectly runnable, but it was really windy when I recce'd it, and I was still making these suggested times quite comfortably. So then we get down to the water. This is where my fueling strategy with the drop bag, so with the overnight bag, is going to come in, because I've had to ditch a lot of food, but there is a cafe there where he puts out all sorts of chocolate bars and things, and a very quick just tap and pay and go. So I will make use of that. And then when you get through and over here to town, this is the famous co-op where you can nip in and fill your boots if you've got time. Now, that is the key if you've got time, but if I get there within 2 hours of that cut-off, I'll be straight into that shop. And I'll have to, because I'll probably be buying a load of NAQD bars again, and chucking a load of stuff in the drop bag as well, just to overcome the stuff I took out to meet the weight requirements. Now, I haven't reckoned a bit from there to the finish, but looking at other people's Stravas and the terrain as I understand it on the map, it should be the sort of terrain I can move just as quick as I would have over the other bits. Now obviously, tired legs by then, but I hope, and this is my plan, to be into camp by about 8 o'clock on that day and start to feel like a normal competitor, all being well. Day 4, straight out 6 o'clock again. I have not recce'd this leg, but not many people talk about leg 4 as if it's like a nightmare problem or anything. I think it's more a case of just get it done. Looking at people's Stravas, it looks like lots of runnable sections, And again, I'm going to treat it in my mind as if it's day 3 and attack it in the same way. Stay in zone 2, keep moving, run as smoothly as you can on the runnables, hopefully get into camp by 8 o'clock again. That will be my goal. Right, now we move on to the last segment in my mind though, which is day 5, the notorious day 5. Now, anybody who's done Dragon's Back will tell you that day 5 is the one that sorts everybody out, and if anybody is going to have made it this far and not make the whole event, this is the day that they won't get through. And I know from experience from a local lad, Rex Hill, this was the day that got him. I know from Marcus, one of the guys sat next to on the coach back to Cardiff, this was the day that got him too. So in my books, this is going to need so much respect, and if I've got anything left in the tank, this is where I'm going to give every single ounce of mental and physical resource. I will leave nothing unanswered on this leg. If I've been fortunate enough to actually make it to the start of day 5 still in the race, then I will absolutely know the time is now to find every single bit of reserve. Now, the good news though, and we've reckoned this, me and Izzy, so we know what we're facing. The first 26 odd miles of this, roughly, is largely move quick, runnable terrain. There's really, you can run loads of it. I mean, a lot of it's uphill on tarmac and things, but you can keep moving. Now you do pass through one town where you can get a patisserie. I don't know where that town's gone. Oh, here we are, Landovery. Over here we are, Landovery. Yeah, there's a patisserie in there, and it does look like really nice cakes. It's going to totally depend on whether I'm well up on the checkpoint predicted times. If I'm an hour ahead, great. If I'm not, goodbye, straight through, keep running. Because I know full well when we hit, let's put it on the old on the map. Where is it? Yeah, when we hit here, the foot of Penny Van. This whole bit of the Brecons here down to camp, I know me and Izzy struggled to make those sort of times really, so we've got to be hitting that by 4 o'clock, I think, probably sooner, but in reality I think 5 to 6 and I would be overjoyed. So it's going to be one of those ones that's going to be really hitting the wire. If it is 5 to 6, bomb it, bomb it, bomb it. I mean, let's just go for broke, innit? It's the last 10 miles. And I know I'm going to be hitting this downhill bit and this river section in the dark, so I'll have my super bright torch so I can move along at a good pace. And again, it'll be like that day 2, just go for broke. I'm just going to have to push and push and push, leave nothing unsaid, take any risks within reason, but I've got to get into camp by 10 o'clock. So just imagine got through all the first 5 days and you know all you have to do is get to Cardiff. Now, pretty much, I think, barring injury, everybody who makes it to start day 6 does get to Cardiff. Again, it'll be a 6 a.m. start. I'm taking no chances whatsoever, but it will be a sense of relief if I get in on day 5. Day 6 is to be enjoyed, I think. You're going to be elated by them, which gives its own energy resources to the human body. Plus you'll have excitement, all sorts of things going. Not to be sniffed at, it's still a big ultra run and it's still got the height of Ben Nevis to climb across the 40 odd miles. But yeah, there's a lot of runnable bits, a lot of it's in Cardiff parks and things, and oh joys, can I even just begin to even imagine hitting Cardiff long before 2200 hours. Yeah. Well, that's a loose plan, folks. You've got to have a plan. You've got to have an idea in mind. It's a monstrous event. Anything can happen. But if it follows even 95% of what I've just laid out here, I will be one happy boy.